Renewable, non-renewable. How does geothermal energy and natural gas differ from one another? Hello, SciPals! I am Sir Marvin Rosales, your science teacher for today. In this episode of Agham Alam Hub, we are going to discuss how the power of geothermal energy and natural gas is harnessed. We will differentiate geothermal energy from natural gas. In addition, we are going to trace how electricity from geothermal energy and natural gas is generated. Finally, we will identify the advantages and disadvantages of utilizing geothermal energy and natural gas. In the next few minutes, we will explore science for another moment. Remember that the Earth consists of several layers which exhibit different properties according to their depth. Each layer also has features and natural resources that are beneficial to our society. Among these natural resources include geothermal energy and natural gas. Geothermal energy is the heat that is generated within the Earth. It is a renewable resource that can be harvested for human use. Earth's temperature rises with depth from the surface to the core. If underground rock formations are heated to about 700 to 1,300 degrees Celsius, they can become magma and heat nearby rocks and underground aquifers. Hot water can be released through geysers, hot springs, steam vents, underwater hydrothermal vents, and mud pots. Most of the Earth's geothermal energy does not bubble out as magma, water, or steam. It remains in the mantle, emanating outward at a slow pace and collecting as pockets of high heat. Meanwhile, natural gas is a fossil fuel. Like other fossil fuels, such as coal and oil, natural gas forms from the plants, animals, and microorganisms that lived millions of years ago. They are compressed and move deeper into the Earth's crust and encounters higher and higher temperatures. The combination of compression and high temperatures causes the carbon bonds in the organic matter to break down. This molecular breakdown produces thermogenic methane, which is probably the most abundant organic compound on Earth. Most thermogenic methane that rises toward the surface encounters geological formations that are too impermeable for it to escape. These rock formations are called sedimentary basins. In order to gain access to these natural gas reservoirs, a hole must be drilled through the rock to allow the gas to escape and be harvested. How is electricity generated through the use of geothermal energy and natural gas? Dry steam is the oldest type of power plant to generate electricity using geothermal energy. In this system, steam is piped directly to a power plant where it is used to fuel turbines and generate electricity. The first dry steam power plant was constructed in Larderello, Italy in 1911 and continues to supply electricity to more than 1 million residents of the area up to present. In the US, The geysers is the only place where a dry steam power plant is in use. It is one of the largest geothermal energy complexes in the world. The most common type of geothermal power plant is the flash steam power plant, which uses naturally occurring sources of underground hot water and steam. Water that is hotter than 182 degrees Celsius is pumped into a low-pressure area. Some of the water flashes or evaporates rapidly into steam and is funneled out to power a turbine and generate electricity. Any remaining water can be flashed in a separate tank to extract more energy. The islands of the Philippines sit over a tectonically active area, the Ring of Fire, that rims the Pacific Ocean. Government and industry in the Philippines have invested in flash steam power plants, and today, the nation is second to the United States in its use of geothermal energy. In fact, the largest single geothermal power plant is a flash steam facility in Malitbog, Leyte. Other plants in Luzon are located in Manito and Tiwi Albay, Calauan, Laguna, and Santo Tomas, Batangas. There are also plants located in Visayas, particularly in Tungonan, Leyte, and Valencia, Negros Oriental, and in Mindanao at Kidapawan, North Cotabato. Binary cycle power plants use a unique process to conserve water and generate heat. Water is heated underground to about 107 degrees to 182 degrees Celsius. The hot water is contained in a pipe which cycles above ground. The hot water heats a liquid organic compound that has a lower boiling point than water. The organic liquid creates steam, which flows through a turbine and powers a generator to create electricity. The only emission in this process is steam. The water in the pipe is recycled back to the ground to be reheated by the earth and provide heat for the organic compound again. The geothermal facility in Bay Laguna uses the binary cycle to generate electricity. An enhanced geothermal system, or EGS, uses drilling, fracturing, and injection to provide fluid and permeability in areas that have hot but dry underground rock. To develop the EGS, an injection well is drilled vertically into the ground. High-pressure cold water is injected into the drilled space, which forces the rock to create new fractures, expand existing fractures, or dissolve. This creates a reservoir of underground fluid. Water is pumped through the injection well and absorbs the rock's heat as it flows through the reservoir. This hot water, called brine, is then piped back up to Earth's surface through a production well. It warms a secondary fluid that has a low boiling point, which evaporates to steam and powers a turbine. The brine cools off and cycles back down through the injection well to absorb underground heat again. There are no gaseous emissions besides the water vapor from the evaporated liquid. Natural gas power plants generate electricity by burning natural gases as their fuel. One type of natural gas power plant is the simple cycle plant. This power plant dispatches faster than coal-fired power plants or nuclear plants. They can be turned on or off faster in order to meet society's electricity needs. Often needed on the grid with wind power and solar power, its purpose is to meet the fluctuating electricity needs of society, known as peaking power. Here in the Philippines, a simple cycle plant can be found at Bolboc, Batangas City and Bogo City, Cebu. Another type of natural gas power plant is the combined cycle plant, which is more efficient because it makes use of the hot exhaust gases that would otherwise be dispelled from the system. These exhaust gases are used to boil water into steam, which can then spin another turbine and generate more electricity. Combined cycle plants in the Philippines are located in Ilijan and Santa Rita, Batangas City. With the utilization of both geothermal energy and natural gas, both resources also bring about their advantages and disadvantages. As to its advantages, geothermal energy is renewable. Using it is relatively clean. Geothermal power plants can last for decades and possibly centuries. Geothermal systems can work in the summer or winter and are not dependent on changing factors such as the presence of wind or sun. The space it takes to build a geothermal facility is much more compact than other power plants. On the other hand, harvesting geothermal energy still poses many challenges. The process of injecting high-pressure streams of water into the earth can result in minor seismic activity or small earthquakes. Geothermal plants have been linked to subsidence or slow sinking of land. This happens as the underground fractures collapse upon themselves. Geothermal plants can release small amounts of greenhouse gases such as hydrogen sulfide and carbon dioxide. Water that flows through underground reservoirs can pick up trace amounts of toxic elements such as arsenic, mercury, and selenium. Although the process requires almost no fuel to run, the initial cost of installing geothermal technology is expensive. For natural gas, it is environmentally clean since it emits very less byproducts into the atmosphere as pollutants. It is economical compared to other burning fuels. It is convenient since it can be directly connected to the consumer's house with the help of pipelines. Natural gas is safe to use since it is lighter than air. It is more efficient when compared to other things like propane gas. Natural gas provides more energy when it burns. However, the use of natural gas is disadvantageous due to its limited quantities. Natural gas is highly combustible and its leakage is difficult to detect. Natural gas is a non-renewable source of energy and emits carbon dioxide. It takes long processing as natural gas has other components that has to be removed before using it for residential or commercial purposes. Even though natural gas is easier to store and transport, its volume happens to be 4 times than that of petrol, which would require additional storage. In this episode of Agham Alam Hub, we discussed how the power of geothermal energy and natural gas is harnessed. We differentiated geothermal energy from natural gas. We also traced how electricity from geothermal energy and natural gas is generated. Finally, we identified the advantages and disadvantages of utilizing geothermal energy and natural gas. That's all for today, SciPals. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. See you again next week for another moment. Only here in Agham Alam Hub, Palajan's SciTech Portal. Bye!